Violent arrests are taking place in New York, where a huge anti-Wall Street rally is underway. Hundreds of activists are marching across the city, pledging to occupy streets, bridges and the subway in protest against economic inequality. Artie's report now is in downtown New York for us. Rina, hi there. These demonstrators are promising, aren't they, the biggest action since the movement began exactly 2 months ago. Take us through exactly what's happening now then.
Well, Kevin, we're about 3 hours into this day-long Occupy Wall Street event marking the 2-month anniversary of this movement that began here in New York, blazed around the country. So far, as you mentioned, dozens of people have been arrested. We have seen violent clashes between police officers and the activists that have been walking through Lower Manhattan. Both men and women tackled to the ground, then arrested, hauled off in vans. Police, before we came live to me, police were just securing the barricades that are right next to me here. Riot police are all around us. Sound cannons have already been used on the crowds that have been marching through Lower Manhattan. While I've been reporting and monitoring the events on one side of Wall Street, my colleague, RT's correspondent Lucy Kafanoff, has been in the epicenter of the demonstrations. She was at the heart of it. She just came up to me about a minute before we went live. I want to bring her in on this because I want to ask her what she's seen so far. Lucy, I know that you were monitoring it. You were actually filming what was taking place, and police were arresting people violently in some cases, and you got hit with a baton. What happened?
Right. Basically, I was trying to video. There's a bunch of police officers who took a large barricade and were pushing protesters into the ground. People looked like they were getting injured, and I was trying to film this. As I approached the crowd, a police officer yelled at me to get away, and before I had a chance to react, he swung his baton and hit me here in the shoulder. I mean, it wasn't that intense, but it was just a shock, especially because, as you can see, I have my press pass clearly marked in front of me. There's another photographer that was also shoved, and we just witnessed the arrest of an Indy Bay media reporter. She was slammed against the wall and taken away in handcuffs, and we have video of that. It does not seem like the police are making distinctions between press and protesters, and again, from what I've personally seen, all of the protesters were using civil disobedience actions, either sitting down, chanting, not provoking the police, so I don't really understand the heavy-handed tactics at this point.
Do you get the impression that they are ready to make arrests on a moment's notice, or are they waiting till something criminal takes place? Because it seems as though as soon as somebody, one of the activists, step foot on the street, they're ready to arrest them.
Which is ironic because, sure, but who knew that stepping off of the curb is a crime worthy of getting slammed down to the ground and handcuffed and having your neck stepped on, which is something that we've actually seen and filmed. I mean, they're not pulling people randomly off the street, but they're definitely, it seems like they're making the rules as they go along, and it's really difficult to stay on the good side of the law. Even as a reporter, when you're asking whether you can stand and film, it doesn't seem like they're making a distinction. If you're in the way, you're in the way, and you risk arrest.
Right, and I mean, I'm guessing there has to be, what, 5,000 police officers down here at the very least, maybe more helicopters flying over our heads?
I mean, it feels like a militarized police zone. It doesn't really feel like downtown New York. All of these streets are closed off. There's all these armed police officers and so many protesters, too. I just don't know how the rest of the day is going to play out, especially since we know there's going to be so many more people joining up with the protests later on this evening when the unions and other organizers come out. It could get really ugly.
That's right, and Kevin, of course, we are going to be following and monitoring this story throughout the day. As Lucy mentioned, events are planned all day long. The activists are going to be going into the subways and later on occupying what they say parks, and then it's going to culminate with labor unions joining the Occupy activists in their fight for a restructuring of the economy, of wealth equality, and then the large group is going to walk across the Brooklyn Bridge. And remember, when that first walk across the Brooklyn Bridge took place maybe 6 weeks ago, that's when 800 people were arrested at one time. So clearly this is escalating. Hopefully it doesn't get violent, but we will be monitoring the story as it unfolds throughout the day.
Absolutely. Report now, Lucy Kafanoff there. Thanks. I know you're updating on our Twitter feed as well as you get the information through. Thanks so much.